armor alongside a lot of things in Hypixel Skyblock is crucial to any player's progression. With all of the recent additions and changes of various armor sets, a lot of the old metas have been outclassed or placed in different categories, making it a lot more difficult for players to find accurate information. As a result, I've decided to go ahead and make the first video of a two-part series covering all of the armor progression that you need to know, whether you're just starting out in Hypixel Skyblock or if you're looking to become the best of the best player and spend your money wisely. But with all that being said, let's get straight into the video. Alrighty, so as you can see, today's video is going to be an updated armor progression guide. Now, a lot of people have made armor progression guides, but there have been so many changes to how Hypixel Skyblock works and all of the armor sets. Lots of things have been reworked, lots of balance changes have come out, and we've also had completely new armor sets introduced to the game. So I figured I'd make an updated tutorial. A lot of people wanted this video, and a lot of people have been asking for it for ages, so that's what we're going to be covering in today's video. Now, before we do start this video, I just want to get a couple of things out of the way here. So the way that this video is structured is going to be as follows. I'm going to talk about all of the main combat sets, the ones that you'll be doing damage with, the ones that you'll be probably doing slayers with, and the ones that are most likely going to be your main armor set that you'll be wearing at all times. And then after I talk about the combat sets, I'll be talking about the fishing armor sets and then the mining armor sets, alongside some miscellaneous things that you should always have in your wardrobe, and things that you should probably work on as you go alongside all of the main armor progression. And the next point that I also want to get out of the way is that this is merely just a guide. Even though I will tell you that a lot of these armor sets are good, a lot of these armor sets are valuable, you should be buying them, and there is sort of like a set progression, there is no real set progression. If you like a specific armor set over another one that I talk about in today's video, you might think it looks better, you might think it does better damage, you might think that something about it is so much better than other things, then by no means you shouldn't be using that. But with that being said, let's get straight into the combat armor sets here. If I open up my inventory, the first thing you'll see is a full hardened diamond set and then a full unstable dragon set. Now, when it comes to early game progression, I actually wouldn't recommend getting really any armor at all, although it is good to get some kind of armor so you're able to tank a bit of damage, maybe kill a couple of mobs, and just wander around and have something to defend you slightly. Even if it's not anything crazy, the hardened diamond armor set will work very, very well. And a lot of the time you can just ask people for this armor set for free. It's very inexpensive for a lot of experienced players, but it's also really cheap for people who just start out, and it's just easy to get your hands on. Now, there are other options like the lapis armor set and a couple of other things that might be just as good. These all work fine. Like I said, when it is early game, you don't need armor, but if you want something, then the hardened diamond set or anything similar will do just fine. Now, assuming that you have moved on from your hardened diamond set and it's time to replace it, the unstable dragon set will provide a very, very solid option. The damage on this thing is really good, the crit chance is also stunning, and it is also very, very cheap. It's great if you're just getting started killing mobs in the end, you want to level up your combat skill, maybe get into a couple of easy slayers, it'll do just fine. It took me a long time before I decided to go from unstable to some other armor sets, which I'm going to get to right now. Now, the next two armor sets that I'll be covering in today's video will be the strong dragon armor and then the full tarantula set. Now, this isn't actually full strong, this is 3/4 strong and then a tarantula helmet, and the reason for the tarantula helmet is because this actually does more damage than using just the full strong dragon set. It is still an option, and I believe that in the current day and age, full strong actually isn't a bad idea. It's just that the tarantula helmet has so much more versatility later on in the game, and if you purchase it now, you won't have to purchase it later, and it will be just so much easier to use, as you will see later down the line. Now, as for the tarantula set, the only reason why I would put this on par with the strong drag is because strong drag will do more damage, and overall you'll be doing a lot more with full strong. However, the tarantula set does come with the tarantula boots, which does give you a double jump and is a lot of fun to use, while it also has the double damage ability with the full set bonus, and you do also inflict venom, which does help out with doing a bit more damage. So while it is slightly weaker, it does have some capability, and it's also good for spider slayer. So if you're looking to do a lot of spider slayers, is get yourself a tarantula set and save some money by not buying strong. Now, of course, the next set that I'll be covering in today's video just has to be the Superior Dragon Armor set. This armor set is absolutely insane. If I read over the set bonus here, it does says that most of my stats are increased by 5%, and then of course the aspect of the dragon's ability will deal 50% more damage. Now, the 50% more damage is not very helpful. That is on the aspect of the dragon's ability, not even the left click damage. But the 5% stat boost is really helpful. At this stage of the game, you should be nearing around skill average 30, and if this is the case, then Superior will benefit you significantly. It's also not super expensive for players who are around skill average 30, and buying this now will come in very helpful later on, because Superior is one of those items that just has some very good value and will always resell at roughly the same price. So if you choose to upgrade later down the line to some of the other armors that I'll be covering today's video. And also a quick thing to mention just before I do leave the topic of Superior Dragon Armor, the beauty of this armor set is that it will also help out a ton to get early Catacombs levels. As I've said in a lot of my other videos in the past, I don't think that people should be getting into dungeons too early on. Work on your skills outside of dungeons, get your health up, get your defense up, and get a bit of your combat skill up as well. And if you do end up doing this and use the armor that I've recommended for outside of dungeons, then you can utilize the Superior Armor set to get yourself some higher Catacombs levels, and then switch over to the dungeon armor sets that I will cover in the part 2 of this video. Now, the next armor set that I'll be covering after Superior set would have to be the Shadow Assassin set. Now, by this stage, you definitely should have already completed floor 5. There's also other armor progression that I am leaving out of this video and I'm not going to be talking about, as like I said, there is a part 2 to this video. If you do follow these steps in this video and then the one that I'll be releasing next week, then you should be able to do this very smoothly and progress through the game very easily. But the reason why I say to get full Shadow Assassin is because this definitely does a lot more damage than full Superior does. However, another really good option to the Shadow Assassin armor set is to actually 5-star your Superior Dragon. Now, if you do like Superior armor and you prefer it over Shadow Assassin, and you are willing to wait the extra time to go from Cata 14 to 19, Superior Dragon armor, if you do dungeonize it, is a very great option. It's very comparable. It's not as good for damage, but much better for all the other stats. And if you do prefer it over Shadow Assassin, you can do that as an alternative option. Although if you follow this guide like I have been saying in this video, you should be able to sell your Superior Dragon armor and actually buy the Shadow Assassin once you do have the requirements for it. Now, just a side note here, I do want to also talk about the Frozen Blaze armor set. The Frozen Blaze armor set is very similar to the Superior armor set in the sense that you can use it at around the same point in the game. Now, Frozen Blaze isn't that great on its own, but if you do decide to use a Blaze pet, it can be very viable. Although, of course, you are restricted to the Blaze pet, and if you do decide to dungeonize it, well, it's also a great option in dungeons, but once again, the Blaze pet will be your best friend. But assuming that you have bought the full Shadow Assassin armor set and not the 5-starred Superior or 5-starred Frozen Blaze, this is the stage of the game where you'll be using this armor set for a very long time. So what I'd suggest you would do here is actually frag your Shadow Assassin. The livid fragments aren't very expensive and they won't be very hard to get once you have bought the full set. Another thing that you probably could do as well is recombobulate all of your pieces. You need to get comfortable with the Shadow Assassin armor set, as upgrading to the next armor set is very expensive and also technically unnecessary. And when you do decide to frag it or recombobulate it, it doesn't really lose that much value. The resale value is still really high on the pieces. And when you choose to upgrade next, you should be able to afford it regardless. And with that said, of course, that leads us on to the final armor set, which I happen to just be wearing right now, and that is the 3/4 Necron armor with the Tarantula helmet. Now, remember how I said at the beginning of the video that you want to buy a Tarantula helmet with your strong dragon set? Well, this is a prime example of why you'd want to do it. As you can see, I have a full 3/4 Necron set and then a Tarantula helmet to go with it. Now, I have decked this out completely. I've recombed all my pieces, 5-starred all of them, fuming hot potatoed them, and I have done everything I can to max out this set. Now, the reason for that is because this is pretty much the final armor set. From here, you really don't have much of an option outside of dungeons. The thing that I would recommend to do is actually cop a Crown of Greed. You can use the Crown of Greed to do a little bit more damage and get more magic find, but you only want to use this on special events like the Diana event or on some bosses like dragons and some other things, because otherwise otherwise you will completely destroy your purse with the amount of coins that the helmet uses. But from here on out, the 3/4 Necron set with various different helmets is the final armor set of this game. And now last but not least, as you can see here, the final armor piece that I'll be talking about in today's video for the combat section of this video is going to be the Warden helmet. Now, the Warden helmet, of course, is very expensive, as you can see by the bin price. Now, I don't have the money for this, and I haven't been using one, although if you are able to get your hands on a Warden's helmet and you want to be maxed out and have the best setup in the entire game, then that is most definitely the final piece to go for. Once you do have 3/4 Necron, you really don't have much of a choice with armor sets. The next thing you would be doing is just buying different helmets and different pieces to mix and match with it, which is why you can use the Tarantula helmet if you don't want to destroy your bank. You can use the Crown of Greed on special events if you don't mind spending those bit of coins for the extra damage. But if you're really wealthy and you have a lot of money, buy yourself a Warden's helmet. That is the end all be all finalized armor set for the first part of this video. So now we move on to the fun part here, which is not just all of the combat sets. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to get started with the fishing setups first up here. And to start us off here with the cheapest and the easiest one to get at the very start of the game is, of course, going to be the angler set. Now, a very interesting thing that you can actually do is buy yourself an angler set. These things are insanely cheap. You could probably get your hands on one of these from just a random person in a Skyblock hub. But you also want to buy these squid boots. Now, these squid boots, once again, very cheap on the auction house and super easy to get your hands on. However, they do give you plus 1.5% sea creature chance, which is higher than the 1% that the angler helmet does give you. So you will be having 1% from all of these pieces and then the 1.5 from the squid boots. Now, the next upgrade here is really interesting. As you can see, you still keep the squid boots from the previous setup that we had before. However, now we have half salmon and then a hydra head as the helmet. Now, the fun part about the fishing armor setups is that you can mix and match all that you want with any of the pieces that I talk about in today's video, because the set bonuses really aren't that crazy and you just want to maximize your sea creature chance as much as possible. Now, that's exactly why I've got a water hydra head and then the squid boots with the half salmon armor. Half salmon is a little bit more pricey than the angler armor. It's still really easy to get and a lot of people can just skip out on angler and go straight to salmon, but you do get 1.5% sea creature chance from this armor set. You already have the 1.5% from the squid boots that you bought before, and now you get 1.8% from the water hydra head, which is roughly like 60 to 80,000 coins on the auction house, which once again is very affordable. This setup is not anywhere near 150,000 coins, and it does make for a very good mid-tier fishing setup before you can afford diver's armor. Now, I don't have any diver's armor to showcase in today's video, but as you can see, each piece of diver's armor gives you 2% sea creature chance, which does make it better than the salmon armor, the hydra head, and also the squid boots. So what you can do is, as you start earning a lot of money from this setup here, you want to say buy the boots because they're the cheapest ones and they'll give you a boost in sea creature chance right off the bat, followed by the helmet, which will replace your water hydra head, and then you can buy the pants and the chest plate. You want to get the chest plate last because of course it is the more expensive one, and because the chest plate doesn't give you any better sea creature chance than the boots, you just want to buy the cheapest ones first and wait for the expensive ones last. But once you have finally gotten comfortable with your full divers setup and you're ready to upgrade once again for the final fishing setup of the game, you are now ready to get yourself a full set of the shark armor set. Now, shark scale does give a 2.5% sea creature chance per piece, and at this stage I would highly recommend you might want to max this out. Maybe you could put Legion on it, maybe you decide to recombobulate it, maybe you decide to put on the submerged reforge, which, as you can see, on legendary items it gives 0.9% sea creature chance, but on the mythic items it gives plus 1% sea creature chance. And once you've upgraded to the shark scale armor set, there's really no other progression to go on from here, and that should be everything that you will need for the fishing gear. Now, the next section of this video, like I talked about at the beginning, was the mining armor setup. Now, there's not many mining armor sets that do exist in this game. I wouldn't ever recommend buying the mineral armor set because the mineral armor set is pretty useless and is not useful in the dwarven mines. which in that case means that you should be buying yourself either the Goblin armor set or the Glaciite armor set. Now, what's really important to note is that if you are below mining 26, you want to be using a full set of Goblin armor with ideally the Wise Reforge or the Necrotic one if you can afford it. However, once you do end up getting past mining 26, either via minions or via just mining manually, that's when you want to upgrade to the Glaciite armor set. Now, the reason for this, of course, is for the full set bonus. It gives you +2 mining speed for every one of your mining levels, and you actually gain more mining speed at mining 26 than you would from the Goblin armor sets, but that only applies once you, of course, reach that mining level. And then, of course, for the last mining set that I'll cover in today's video is going to be the full set of Sorrow armor. Now, unlike the fishing setup, you cannot replace this as you just buy the pieces. The Glaciite armor set does rely on the full set bonus, and if you decide to mix and match with Sorrow armor, you will not get the perks that you need from this armor set. So what I suggest you do is try to work your way towards buying the entire thing. Maybe start with the chestplate first, as it's the most expensive piece, and then follow it up with the leggings, the helmet, and then the boots. And then once you have the entire armor set, that is when you want to use that in replacement for the Glaciite, because that'll help you mine a lot quicker. And this, once again, is the armor set that you can deck out. Maybe you want to put some fancy reforges on it, maybe you want to recombobulate it, do whatever you like to it. And the beauty about the Sorrow armor set is that you can actually use it outside of mining, as it is one of the best sets in the game right now for magic find. And there are people who decide to chuck on Legion, recombobulators, and other reforges to boost that even higher. And now moving on to the final category of this video. Like I said at the very beginning of the video, there are some miscellaneous armor sets that I still believe that you should definitely work towards. Now, there's no real set progression of these armor sets, so you should just be able to buy them as you play the game, work towards them slowly but surely, because if you want to be a fully decked out endgame player, these are definitely armor sets that you should have in your wardrobe. So as you can see in my inventory, there is quite a lot of armor pieces in here. Now, to start things off, a must-have armor set for any Skyblock player has got to be the full Young set. Now, whether you're farming Summoning Eyes, foraging in the park lobbies, the Young set will help you do this very, very efficiently, as it not only increases your speed cap, but it also gives you a crazy amount of speed, and if you use the correct reforges with this, it'll be a very good armor set that helps you do just those miscellaneous grinding tasks. Now, similar to the Young set, I've also got the Rancher's Boots up on this list. Now, the Rancher's Boots are mainly used for farming, as you can completely adjust your speed cap and choose how fast or slow you want to go. You also don't trample crops with it, which is a very nice bonus, and once again, a must-have armor piece in this video. And now, on the left side of my inventory, I have the 2 event sets. We've got the full Bat Person and then the full Snowsuit set. Now, this, of course, is for the gift attack minigame. If you decide to play on the Jerry's Workshop and you want to do as much damage as possible to the magma cubes, you want to get yourself a full Snowsuit armor set to do that efficiently. However, if you do a lot of spooky festivals and you want to get the most amount of candy possible, get yourself a full set of Bat Person armor, as this will help you do that very efficiently, and both of these sets are designed for the events that they're played in. And with all of that being said, that's going to wrap up everything that I had for today's video. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of other armor sets, especially in the miscellaneous category, that could be useful and are some other options that people should consider. However, these should be the main ones that a lot of people should go for, especially the early game players that are just starting out. Now, if I did miss anything or you have any further questions or comments about this video, you can always come chat to me when I'm live over on Twitch. I stream every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The links are down in the description below. We tend to have a lot of open discussions over there about a lot of different things, so if that does interest you, feel free to stop by. But with all that being said, that's gonna wrap up everything that I had for today's video. And as always, take care and peace. At this stage of the game, you should be nearing skill average 50. Ooh, definitely not. Don't leave that in, I swear to God, bro.